everybody, it's Maria Boynton. Thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Atlanta Up Close. Of course, here we believe in equal time when it comes to the candidates for elected office, and we're in the midst of an election now. Early voting is underway as we are talking. The election is on November 4th. The race we're focusing on today is the race for president of the Atlanta City Council. Rohit, Malhotra, how are you?
I'm doing so well. This is a dream come true. I grew up listening to V-103, so here I am.
Yeah. Well, of course, Odyssey Atlanta is here at your service.
Yes.
So, Rohit, tell everybody who you are.
Yes.
First and foremost, who are your people?
Yeah. So my name is Rohit Malhotra, R-O-H-I-T, and this is the city that raised me. My parents are immigrants to this country. Mm-hmm. My mother was 19 years old when she came here. My parents started a small business, tried to make sure that they could build something to help their children survive and thrive, and they sacrificed everything to do that. I was raised in this city. I went to Emory for undergrad. Mm-hmm. I left for about 5 years. I worked in the Obama administration as a fellow. I also got a policy degree from Harvard University, which is in the state of Massachusetts. And then it's an inside joke. And then in addition to that, we also have started an organization called the Center for Civic Innovation that over the course of the past decade has been doing local policy work in the side of the city of Atlanta.
Everyone, we're talking to Rohit Malhotra, who is a candidate for city council president for the city of Atlanta. When you look at your upbringing, first and foremost, and you said this city raised you, so many say that. Yeah. I mean, what do you know about this city? Express your love for the city. Why do you want to represent the city of Atlanta?
Yeah, my parents' story is the story of so many people in this city, of sacrifice, of push, of fight. When I was in high school, my first job was on Broad Street in downtown Atlanta, and I worked for an immigration law firm. And we worked with so many of the different small businesses across downtown Atlanta, and these are Black-led businesses. Some of these are immigrant-led businesses, and you realize how many families are just going through the same things. And in a time like now, Atlanta today has the highest income inequality gap in the United States with the lowest upward mobility. What that means is that the city of Atlanta's economy is growing right now, but for whom? Who are we building for? I think that's an important question that we have to ask ourselves, because for a lot of people, their wages have remained stagnant. They have not actually seen growth in their own bank accounts. The wealth gap has gotten wider. So in a time like now, people are trying to figure out, yes, I love Atlanta and I want to be in Atlanta, but can I see myself in the future of Atlanta? And I think that's the role of public policy. Public policy is supposed to be the set of interventions, the solutions that we have to make sure that we are protecting the people who don't just want government to work, but the people who need government to work. And I love this city dearly. It is everything to me. And my love language is public policy. It is how I express and push for this city to live up to everything that I know it to be.
He's Rohit Malhotra, everyone, candidate for Atlanta City Council president. You spoke of the economics, so I assume that that's one of the top issues you see that this city needs desperately handled. Give me two more top issues you feel.
Yeah. So yes, the top issue in this city is certainly affordability and economic mobility, making sure people are not stuck. The second thing that we need to think about is protecting and preserving and supporting our small businesses. For a lot of small businesses, they are run by families. And if a small business has a bad day, a family has a bad day. If a family has a good day, a small business has a fighting shot to have a good day. There's so much economic growth opportunity that's coming to the city, but we have to make sure that the small businesses that are here can survive not only into those economic opportunities, but through them as well, whether that's the World Cup or Super Bowl or another world tour by Beyonce. These are incredible opportunities, but we need to make sure that the small businesses that are here have a fighting shot of being able to work through those. So affordability, protecting and preserving small businesses. Another issue that I think a lot about is gun violence.
Okay.
In the city of Atlanta, and we're seeing this around the country, gun violence is up. And what is happening is that we're not actually addressing the underlying root causes of gun violence. Gun violence is preventable, but it's also the leading cause of death for children in this country. I've spent my career working with community-based organizations, particularly organizations that are led by mothers and fathers who are processing and grieving the loss of their children because of a bullet. And how lucky we are that there are people in this country and in this city that their response to losing their child to gun violence is to advocate for it to never happen ever again. And I think we have an opportunity around the issue of gun violence to look the issue directly, figure out how we use things like hospital-based violence interruption efforts, community-based violence interruption efforts, which is about creating an ecosystem approach. So you bring the hospital in, Grady Memorial Hospital, you bring in the county, you bring in the city, you bring in community-based organizations, law enforcement, you bring all of these pieces together. And you say, how do we actually achieve public safety for people? And how do we also make sure that we are directly addressing the issues of gun violence and the rippling effect that that has on communities? This is happening around the country. In both Baltimore and in Birmingham, you are seeing investments in community-based violence interruption work leading to astronomical results, not only in public safety, but also the improvement of public health. When we treat public safety the same way we do public health, you end up seeing very similar types of results.
Where have you been, Rohit? I mean, what do you say to people who say your opponent, Marcy Collier Overstreet, has been on Atlanta City Council for a number of years? What have you been doing?
Yeah, so I think that this election provides a very clear choice for voters between experience that is rooted in politics or experience that is rooted in public service. I did not need politics to get into public service. I have been doing public service my entire life. And no matter what, I'm going to do public service. That's what my career is built on, is what my research has been on, is what my data has been on. But I think we're in a very unique political moment where we have to come to terms with the fact that what we are doing is not working. Income inequality has widened. Gun violence is going up. The way that we are doing politics is not working for people. And so when I think about my experience, what I'm most proud of is not only that I'm a nerd that understands legislative process, I understand budgets, I understand public advocacy, but I'm on the ground. The root of my work throughout my entire career has been my relationships with neighborhoods and communities. The work that I'm most proud of is the work that I've been able to do with community-based organizations, mostly in South and Southwest Atlanta. I've worked to bring millions of dollars to community-based organizations in a time where money is drying up, where nonprofits are under attack. My job has been to protect those organizations. Okay. It's why you'll see hundreds of organizations who will say, you may not know this guy's name, but you know his work. It's a thing I'm very proud of.
Talk about your ability to work and get along with others.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be, I wouldn't have been in public service as long as I have if that was not a skill set for me. It's honestly my greatest skill set is about bringing people together, but not just people I agree with, bringing people together that I don't necessarily agree with, setting a destination of where we want to go, and then working through, deliberating, arguing, figuring out how we actually get this right to get to that destination. I think way too often when we talk about even things like collaboration, we often conflate that as being just complicit. That, okay, you take the people we agree with, we'll draw circles around them, but anyone we disagree with, we'll draw a line against them. I'm very proud that throughout my career, what I've been able to do is to bring people who would very unlikely be in a room together and actually work toward a greater outcome. I did that around affordable housing. I've done that around issues of gun violence reduction. I've done that around issues of education. These are things that I've been doing. And so what I'm very proud of is you'll see the coalition that, for example, the folks that have endorsed me, everyone from former city council presidents like Kathy Willard and Felicia Moore, to community-based organizations, to labor unions. And just this morning, GABWA, the Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys, has just endorsed me as well. Black Feminist Future has endorsed me as well. I do not take these things for granted because I know that when an organization that is centered in Blackness is endorsing someone like me, that not only comes with celebration, it comes with deep responsibility. And what they know is what I've been saying, is that public policy that is good for Black communities is good for everyone. And I think we need people who understand public policy to be able to drive better outcomes for people in a time like now.
Let's talk a little bit more about getting along and working with others.
Yeah, sure.
Let's say scenario here.
Yeah.
The mayor.
Yeah.
Of course, does something or decides on something that you don't necessarily agree with, and we're assuming that you would be the president of Atlanta City Council. How would you handle that with a disagreement with the mayor? How would Rohit handle that disagreement? Would you address it publicly? Would you address it privately? How would you address it?
Yeah, so I always start with, I actually don't believe there are heroes and villains inside of government. I think we've over glamorized that for salacious TV sometimes. I think for most part, the mayor wants to make sure this is a place where it is the best place to raise a child. I believe the same thing. I think you always have to start from the place where we agree. And what's great about this mayor and me, where we are aligned, is that we are both policy nerds. We are people who very deeply care about and understand public policy. So in public policy, what you have to do is you have to start with the outcomes. Way too often in politics, we start with the output, which is what program are we going to do? How are we going to do it? What is it going to look like? Rather than saying, where are we trying to actually go? So the first thing I would do is say, let's see where we agree. So we agree that this is where we want to go. You believe we get there this way. I believe we get there this way. There are tools in public policy that can help model that. Everything from budgeting processes to actual statistical modeling to say what works, what doesn't work. I think we need to make government go back to what it is intended to do. I think way too often we want just people to take selfies with each other and be friends with each other and treat politics as a social sport. But the whole point of good public policy, when it works best, is when you take people who want the same destination, who have two different viewpoints and maybe multiple different viewpoints, and we get to work it out. You bring your perspective to the table, I bring mine. And then but you never lose sight of the goal. I think where things go astray is when you lose sight of why we're doing this. This isn't about me. This isn't about the mayor. This is about the people. And that is always who has to be at the center of our work. So I want to be fierce and unapologetic about the fact that we are living in a time of urgency where people need policy to work right now. They cannot wait. We cannot, just because of respectability politics, just agree to get along when people are hurting because of decisions that might be made. So I'm very excited to get to work. That's exactly, I want this job. I'm ready to get to work and I'm ready to do the job.
Rohit Malhotra, candidate for Atlanta City Council President. Why don't you look into that camera, your
Sure.
camera,
Yes.
and tell people why they should choose you?
Yes. Thank you, Atlanta. I think that this is an opportunity. This election is coming in a moment of national crisis. We see what's happening in Washington. We see that you have a legislative branch of government and an executive branch of government that are complicit in creating a lot of difficulty for families. As of November 1st, you're going to have people who are going to be off of their benefits. We are living in a moment where we need government to be better. We need it to be focused on the people who need it to work. That's exactly why I'm running for office. I'm running for office because I am ready for this moment. I am battle tested in moments of crisis. I also have a lifelong career in public service. I know how this job works, and I know how to use this job to make sure that we are making sure it serves every single neighborhood across this city. I love this city, and I want to express that love through public service. And I think you have a clear choice in this election between status quo politics and hope and change politics. And I think we need a lot more of that in a moment like now. And so again, my name is Rohit Malhotra, Rohit. You can learn more about me at rohit4atlanta.com. And I'm excited to get to work, Atlanta. Thank you.
So you have your young people with your ATL row t-shirts on?
ATL row. Yes. Look,
right.
Young people will determine this election. What's beautiful about young folks is that they are representing the exact same fight that so many people who came before us have been saying. I love that. I think this is a multi-generational, multi-ethnic, multi-racial opportunity to make Atlanta live up to the greatest ideals that it has brought to the world.
And we are out of time.
Awesome.
Out of time.
Great.
Thank you so much, candidate for Atlanta City Council President Rohit Malhotra.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
And everyone, thank you so much for joining us for another edition of Atlanta Up Close. And of course, as always, you can join us on the Odyssey app. I'm Maria Boynton.